Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at City Planner, this really small game in the Nano 9 series. Let's see what it looks like from a solo perspective. This is one of the two, or one of them that can be played with two players, but we're just going to look at it from solo game. All right, let's take a look. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so much. So this game is definitely, I would say, on the simple side. Basically, what you're going to be doing is and this is the very beginning, you're going to roll 7 dice, and you're going to assign those dice to these cards depending on how they're rolled, okay? And what happens is, as you roll them, you're going to make a choice on which of the one card that you're going to lock and not use this turn. You can re-roll a couple of them based on if you want to spend the capital, which costs you a couple of bucks each time to re-roll the card or the die. And if you do that, not re-roll, but move it up or down 1 point or 1 pip, pardon me. And if you do that, you could do that in up to 3 dice. And basically, once you've assigned your dice, then you go through a little formula to figure out, of the 6 cards that you're scoring, what are the, how many points and how much money you're going to get. And so in this game, you're trying to do this in 8 rounds. So the first thing you do is you're going to set this to these 2 dice to a 2 and a 6, and you're basically counting them down, which I did over here, each round. And then we're going to go through and we're going to roll all of these. So this is for the first one, goes here. Second one here. Third here. And they're 1 through 6, as you can see on the cards. Fourth is here. This is City Block 4. That's City Block 7. Okay, that's 5 on the 5, 1 on the 6. And finally, 6 on the 7. So your choice, first of all, like I said, you start with $5, and if you want, you can spend $1 to choose to move a die up or down 1. Okay, but you can't change 1 to a 6 or a 6 into 1. You could just move them, and so you might want to do that to adjust some of these cards a little bit where you are. You do have to choose 1 to lock and use for that exact die combination next time. So what you would do is you would say, okay, well, out of these, I don't really want to play this right now. So next time, we're going to have to use this re-roll, and that will be fixed. And maybe, based on what we have here, I need to do something different. Okay, so one of the things that happens is if you don't have, well, let me back up a second. You need to use this rule book here to identify and understand how to deal with each of the buildings that you have. And when they give you a bunch of scoring examples, which is helpful for sure, but what they should have done, which would have been awesome, was just a scoring formula, which would have been great, which would have said, to get the number of victory points equal this and this and this and this and this. Number of dollars equals this and this and this and this and this, because you actually can work it out. I think I posted something that's correct in Board Game Geek just to try to confirm, but the designers haven't gotten back with me yet to say that's how you calculate it every time. And if they had done that, they wouldn't necessarily have had to put in all of these different things, or they could have, but right there, that little formula would have really made this even simpler to calculate. But all that being said, a couple of big rules in this game are, if you don't have at least 2 red or yellow or both buildings out here, you lose $5, okay? And the other thing is that you don't score any of your commercial buildings, which are the blue ones, for money, unless you at least have 1 of these industrial buildings scoring. Otherwise, they just go to 0. So what that really means is, in this scenario right here, I'm not going to score this building at all, or this building, if I can't get one of these dice on the yellow. So when it's time to lock a building, I would think to myself, well, maybe that makes more sense to try to figure that out. So next time, maybe I'll lock this one for this first round, because I'm not going to be able to score it anyway. because I have too far to go to adjust to get any of those. And maybe I'll spend $1 to make this 5 into a 4. I'm sorry, this 4 into a 3, pardon me, so that I can double up the score of my victory points. So what'll happen is, if this is the way I leave this round, then I will score 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll use that for 4 victory points. Times 2 is 8. So I'll get 8 points, which I take my white marker here and put it there. And then I will get $1 and a re-roll for next turn. So I've got to remember that I have a re-roll for next turn. How do you remember that? Well, you should have some extra cubes. You could just take one of those cubes and leave it on the re-roll, okay, if you have a problem with that. So the next turn goes, and you're locked into this, and so you knock this down by 1. So now I've got 7 turns left. And I basically re-roll all these dice again. I have to keep, or I don't have to keep this one, but I've got a re-roll, so I leave that out there just to let myself know. I have to keep this when it's locked, and I must use it. All right, so, and I can't modify it or anything like that. This is for 7. It doesn't really matter if you roll them in order. You're just trying to roll them to reassign them. All right. Okay, so now I must use this card. I have to lock a different one. I can't lock the same one. And I have a re-roll. So I am one of 2 ways moving forward in the... I've got 2 reds, which is good. But again, I'm not going to be able to get any money for any of these. So I have to use this. Probably the best thing I should do is to re-roll this one in hopes that I get any of these other choices. And I'll show you why that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and spend my re-roll on this one. And it's a 2. Okay, it's a parking lot. That's good. So I'll show you how that works. So now I've used my re-roll. I'm not going to modify anything else. I'm satisfied with what I have. So let's go back to the situation here where I'm going to score. First, I'm going to score for victory points. So I have 1, let's see, so 1, 2 victory points times, since I have 2 reds, that'd be 3, so that'd be 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I have 2 parking lots like this. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna lock this one. I had to move that away because I have to lock it. I'm gonna lock this one, so I only have 1 parking lot. The way the parking lot works is, for every card you decide not to score, you could just get $2. So because I'm not gonna score this one, because it doesn't score me anything, I'll just get $2. That's how the parking lot works. When you only have 1 of them. When you have 2 of them, you get to choose your money or your victory points after you've done all your calculations. If you have 2 parking lots, you can double that. So for instance, on my 6, like I just had right there, if I had both of these, I could have doubled those victory points to get 12. So that's the key with this parking lot situation. You do it after you've done all the other stuff. So just to be clear on how to really score this, when you do the money doesn't pay out at all unless you have at least 1 of these yellows. Okay, and if you have more than 1, the first one will give you times 2. So go times 2, 3, and 4. All right, the points will pay out no matter what, but these red will get you 2, 3, and 4 times. They will always pay out. That's the weird thing, and it says so in here. And I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I guess that's just the way it's going to go, right? But these are slightly different. These will always pay out in victory points, regardless if you have those. But these, if you have 0 buildings, you don't score the blue at all. These are re-rolls plus 1, and at the end of it, you double. If you have 2 parking lots, the money that you got or the victory points that you got, not both. And if you have 1, you get 2 points for every card you don't score. And that's pretty much it. You basically play through those turns, like I just scored that. So now we're at 6. You play through 8 turns, and that's the game. That's it for solo, and it's really quick to play. You probably can play it in, it says 20 to 30 minutes. No way. I'm thinking that this game is a 15-minute game tops. Definitely quick when you're playing it solo. So, all right, let's see what I think about it. Okay, so that's City Planner. It is a beat your own score game. I didn't mention that. And they give you, a specific amount of points that you have to shoot for if you want to beat your own score, like you can see there. If you play 2 players, you can play it, top score. To be honest, this game is too light for me. I think it's okay at best, but it is just too light. You have some decisions to make, but I just don't see it really holding my interest. Now, I'm not going to get rid of the game or sell the game because it is an integral part of playing the Empire Planners, where you put all these 3 games together and you use them to do everything. So in essence, it will stay in my collection because I do like Empire Planners, which I'll do my own video on that one. But this game by itself is just not that enticing to me as a solo gamer. It's great if you want something really simple. If they just had 2 of those things on how to calculate it, little equations, it makes scoring even easier. Once you figure it out, it makes sense. But I just found slightly that the way the rule book lays out the scoring in here, it just, I don't know. I really appreciate they put a bunch of examples because that helped me do it. But I could, with the multiplication and everything else, I didn't quite, I don't know. It just didn't seem to make complete sense to me until I worked it through for a little bit. Now I've got it, right? But coming back to it, it just took me a while to figure out that you add up all your points, you multiply by the red buildings, and then you double if you have 2 more parking lots. You add up all your money. If you don't have any yellow, you don't score any of the money. If you do, you multiply the money and you double if you have 2 parking lots. The $1 and the reroll is independent of all that stuff. And if you only have 1 parking lot, you just get $2 for each card you decide not to actually play. So that's it. If you love little small games that are light, this would be great for you. It just didn't do it for me. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And whatever you decide to do in the future, hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.